One of the fiercest critics of President Obama's decision to seek congressional authorization may be Frederick Hoff, former State Department Special Advisor for Transition in Syria in the Obama administration, a former Obama aide. He wrote over the weekend that, quote, the events of the past 10 days suggest that there was no administration forethought to the possibility of a major chemical incident in Syria. There was no plan in place to respond to a major chemical attack by a regime that had already demonstrated its deep and abiding contempt for the president and his red lines. The results of this mystifying lack of preparedness have been abysmal. Let's get some analysis from Jérmie Bash. He was Chief of Staff to former Defense Secretary and CIA Director Leon Panetta, and he's now the founder of Beacon Global Strategies, a consulting firm. Jérmie, thanks for being here. You just heard of some of what Frederick Hoff wrote. He also called Obama's decision to ask for congressional approval strategically appalling. He said you could defend it constitutionally, but the idea that you would make it seem to the world that there's going to be a strike and then step back and say, but now we're going to seek congressional authorization, it sends the wrong message. What do you make of Fred Hoff's criticism?
Thanks for having me, Jake. I think Mr. Hoff is just making a silly argument here. From the get-go, the president has been clear. Assad's use of chemical weapons on a large scale is a hideous crime. It crosses a red line, and we've got to respond. We've got to respond now militarily. Now, some say, he should have moved on out and taken a strike without consulting Congress. But what he's doing here is he's being very clear. He's saying, look, here's where I stand. This is my view. This is what I think we ought to do. Who is with me? Who's going to stand with me? And you heard John McCain today say, if the United States doesn't do this for our interests in the Middle East, it would be a catastrophe.
How would you describe how President Obama has evolved on the use of force? As you heard in the piece just then, I don't know anyone in the White House who thinks that the President Obama of 2013 would have supported the surge in Afghanistan that he supported in 2009. Is he more reluctant to use U.S. force, U.S. troops? Is he just more skeptical of U.S. involvement in general? Where do you see him in this?
I think he's been very careful, and I actually think from my perspective at the CIA and at the Pentagon, almost every decision that went to the White House that involved troops or using military force, he's really scrutinized. He and his team have gone over with a fine-tooth comb. There's no bravado. There's no, hey, we're just going to use military force wherever. But he has used it. He doubled down our forces in Afghanistan.
Right.
He participated in the coalition operations in Libya. He sent Special Operations Force 150 miles to get bin Laden in Pakistan. He's authorized a wide range of counterterrorism operations in Yemen and elsewhere in the world. So he has applied and used military force very strategically and very effectively. He's not afraid to use military force. What he doesn't want is either a rush to judgment. And here, our military leaders, General Dempsey, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, have said, but they have said, first of all, be careful, Mr. President, when we apply military force in the Middle East. And by the way, in this case, it's okay to take a deep breath. Wait 10 days, wait 2 weeks, wait even 30 days. Why? Because Assad can't hide things that we're probably going to hit. He can't hide radar stations. He can't hide buildings. He can't hide headquarters. And by the way, if he does go underground or puts men, women, and children around that, it's going to make him hard to fight the enemy. And so, in some ways, even just saying that we might strike you and putting destroyers off the coast and building an international coalition and having this debate in Congress, that in itself is a huge deterrent to Assad.
All right, just one last quick question. Your old boss, Leon Panetta, he wanted to arm rebels, and he admitted to this in testimony in February. Should the administration, should the president have taken his advice?
Well, he said that he supported it, and then in June, when they crossed the red line, the president announced that military support.
All right, that's a diplomatic answer. Jérmie
Thanks,
Bash,
Jake.
thank you.